Welcome back. It's another Mindful Monday. We love doing these.
Yeah.
We've been doing quite a lot.
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
These good tips the whole way. We'll put some literature out so you guys can always follow. But today is going to be something that I think happens to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. We don't always identify it for for months and months, sometimes years before we realize. I want to talk about burnout. Yeah. Which is a real thing.
Absolutely.
So can you help us with, let's start with, how do you identify burnout?
When you start, burnout is complicated. You start to not take care of yourself. You're not sleeping well. You are sacrificing your needs for someone else.
Right.
You start to resent that you're sacrificing. And it could be in any career. It can be... or in a relationship, or any of that. It can happen anywhere.
It's anything that takes your energy into it.
Yeah.
If
you
not
are
getting fed back.
Because what happens is, if we don't identify burnout, it's like a pebble in the snow that you're going to start rolling downhill. Burnout can lead to depression, I've seen it go as far as suicidal thoughts, suicidal behavior. I mean, it just starts to steamroll. And it's important to realize when you're doing more work with either a friend or your job or whatever than they are for you. A lot of us are go-getters. I know you and I are.
Oh, for sure.
And we don't settle for anything but our very best. But it's a big difference between your very best and perfection. Perfection is evil. As a recovering perfectionist, I know this.
Yep.
But if you can look yourself in the mirror, and I used to say this to my kids all the time, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and you did the very best you could, and you still got a C, I'm good with it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That's all I ever wanted from them, was for them to try.
Give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's fascinating about this, like you mentioned, you and I are very similar in the fact that, like, I go a mile a minute. I have 8,000 projects.
Yeah.
So it is not an easy thing for me to identify burnout, because I don't identify with burnout, right? And then
I've seen you burn out.
Right.
You lie to me.
And out of nowhere, this happened huge this last year, I will hit a wall that I was not expecting.
Exactly.
And I noticed right away my outlook changes. I mean, you can ask Kurt back here. I said to him, I have no more joy in what I'm doing, which was a big scary moment. Mm-hmm. I said, I need to find out what's happening with me. So we changed my schedule. I got a counselor. I was just like, because I'm not willing to give up things that I enjoyed, but it's for people like us, like, you just keep going. Yep. Your brain is not trained to go, okay, we need to pump some brakes there.
I did that a lot because I did everything backwards in my career. I went to private practice first, and I kept telling myself, because I was a very late bloomer in going to college. So when I had my grad school degree, I was in my 40s, and I'm 54 now. So
see, it's never too late if you want to achieve your goals.
But I worked myself so hard to the point where I was my hair was falling out. And yes, I wear my hair very short, but it's not because it's falling out. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I was getting sick a lot. My kids, every time I try to say something about possibly, because the model has changed from when I first went to private practice, and there's a lot of support out there for it. But every time I say those two words, my kids are like, no.
Yeah.
And I will go above and beyond too often. But I've learned, if I don't want to go to work in the morning, now, I may not want to get up, but usually by the time I get up and start moving around, I want to go to work. I'm glad I'm going to go to work. I have a 3-day weekend this coming up, and by Monday, I'll be ready to go back to work. I don't like to be, if I'm on vacation, that's one thing. Yeah. But a few days off, I'm usually ready to go back to work. I want to go back and do what I love. You know?
Do you think the other thing is, and for people who like to be high achievers like you and I, if you look at a culture like Japan has this culture of, there's a stigma. I mean, burnout happens huge over there, but there's a cultural stigma. I think there's a cultural stigma here as well. So you're battling that because we're not taught to identify burnout because it's not something our culture is willing to accept. So when people see these signs, what are some tools they can access that they can do that's maybe going to help them? You know what I mean?
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. See where it's going. If you start to see yourself not sleeping, not eating, your family starts to say to you, you feel like you don't have enough time. You're getting pulled in 15 million different directions. That's when you start pumping the brakes. You need to start being able to set boundaries. Boundaries are huge to avoid burnout. You can say no to somebody, and if you don't have a boundary and they have the opportunity to try to manipulate you into working longer or do that,
And I know that we are taught to, and listen, I have a strong work ethic. I was taught that as a kid. But there is the line you need to start taking for yourself and realize there's a line. You can be amazing, go above and beyond, but boundaries is not an easy thing to put in place.
Here's the analogy I love to use. Most everybody I've met in my life has flown on a commercial aircraft.
Right. And
then I'll say, what happens on your way to the runway? When you're bumping along, it's like riding in a car. And they that's the taxi. That's the taxiway to the runway. What happens? And they have to think for a minute. And when they can't answer that, I'll say, what do flight attendants do? They do the safety briefing.
Yep.
Then I say, what happens for an explosive decompression? The oxygen masks fall. What do they tell you to do first? Put it on yourself before you help someone else. You have to take care of you before you can do what you love.
I love that. Because, I mean, I don't think listen, I love everybody. I love people. I want to be there. But if you didn't take care of yourself, it doesn't matter how much you want to be there for others. There's nothing left.
There's nothing there for you.
There's
nothing. And you're hurting yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to change careers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yes.
I did that in freaking college. I was going to be a teacher.
Yeah, which you still are in a different way.
Just in a different way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think we let things be in such strict categories. We don't understand that you're still doing things that you thought you'd given up.
Yeah.
But it's just not labeled the same thing. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
I'm much better at this than teaching, trust me.
Well, she teaches us every week, so it works for us. But I think burnout is one of those things that we don't give ourselves the grace to feel. We don't give ourselves the grace to go, okay, I need to start looking at putting these boundaries in. I need self-care is really a lot of it.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah. Making sure you're taking care of yourself. Now, I will be the first to tell you, in the 50s, we called it someone's having a breakdown.
Yeah, nervous breakdown.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think the same, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown this year, but what you realize is, okay, this is not solved overnight. This is telling me something. It's like the check engine light on your car.
Yep.
What is it that is telling me, and where can I be kind to myself?
Yeah.
Oh, you are the only advocate you really have.
Yeah.
And you need to advocate for yourself and figure it out. And guess what? Like, my biggest thing was, but I still want to do it all. I just want to enjoy it again.
Yeah.
Well, until you can feel yourself and enjoy yourself again, it doesn't matter. You could want to do all of those things, but you have to allow yourself that leeway, that grace.
Absolutely.
Grace is my theme for the last 7 shows.
Yeah, exactly. And bottom line is, you are important, you are loved, you are cared about, and you deserve to have the life that you want.
Exactly. And listen, if some corporation is telling you otherwise, fuck them.
Yeah.
So we get one life.
That's exactly
enjoy
right.
it
and
as much as
live
you
it
can.
as long as you can, doing what you love.
Exactly.
Because if you don't.
Exactly. So burnout, with no burnout, we are here to help each other. Remember, these are the perfect kinds of things where I talk about community. where we can help each other.
Absolutely.
We can share.
Absolutely.
I felt this. What did I do? You felt this. What did you do?
Yeah.
Because burnout can come for any of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So I want you to find the joy in life and enjoying your life. And life is not all about work.
No.
So find your joy. Share with us. Send us an email.
Absolutely.
We want to hear.
Please do.
Yeah.
What's the email address?
Our email address is, well, we have a few, but editor@thequeercentric.com is your easiest way to reach us.
Yes.
We get all
Yes.
emails there. You can find us on socials. We'll take them there too.
Yep.
We're all about
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So remember, follow us, like us, give us a like on YouTube, give us like. I told this the other day to a group of people, a like is the new modern currency.
Yes. Yes, yes.
And
yes.
it's true, and I don't think we always understand, but we want to hear from you. We want to know that you like what you're giving you. If you have suggestions of subjects you'd like us to talk about,
please,
we are more than happy to have those. But giving you a little bit of positive in your day, we look forward to this every week. So until next time, bye.